Hey everyone, got another wee build here for you here today. This is a build just specifically for conflict play and PvP. Effectively, I wanted to put this build together just because I was kind of fed up being pulsed all the time within PvP gameplay and being able to be kind of like a ghost within PvP does help tremendously when it comes to maps and being able to flank players and stuff like that as well. So basically what I've got here is starting off with the specialisation, we're using sharpshooter. The reason why is this is more of a distance kind of play instead of being up in your face with other players and stuff like that with the typical adrenaline rush intimidate. So we are using the sharpshooter specialisation just really for the extra stability with the marksman rifle and being able to cleanse any status effects from the medical kit that is available with the sharpshooter specialisation. Now, I have opted for using the concussion grenade instead of the normal blind grenade, and that's just to finish off any players that I do manage to get from sniping them effectively, or even if I'm using any of the other weapons that you can see on show here. So the way that I've worked this out is I have tried using Determined within PvP. I do find quite difficulty in trying to get that headshot kill. The PvP movement is extremely good with a lot of players and stuff like that. It's very few and far between that you see players kind of just standing very still in order for you to get that headshot off. Even if the movement is really good, have tried for numerous days to kind of just judge what their movement is going to be next. So if they are running to the left, running to the right, kind of aiming ahead of them. But even at that, I just generally think that the hitboxes on the heads within this game is just not highly accurate. So it can be quite hit and miss, literally, for obviously getting your shots off and being able to hit these players whilst they're moving at a very high pace. So for myself, what I've opted for is the named marksman rifle, which is basically the Model 700, but it's just a named version of it. This is called the Ecom's Longstick, and from there I've got the max marksman rifle damage of 15%, 111% headshot damage, and damage to target out of cover. Now, with a lot of sniper builds, you will see that using determined and stuff, a lot of people will be using headshot damage throughout the build and stuff like that. I've kind of opted for the opposite of this. The reason why is I'm not using the hotshot build. As I've said, it's very difficult to get proc determined and not to be getting pushed by four players to be obviously be doing that. So the way that I've done it here is with the Ecom's long stick, it does come with the talent Perfect Ranger. It does apply a weapon damage by 2% for every 4 metres you're away from your target. So this is why I like to keep as much distance as possible from that. I obviously have to shout out the person in the dart zone that actually nailed me with this sniper rifle from a very long distance, and it absolutely hammered me. When I inspected the build, I was like, right, okay. I thought he was maybe using determined something for the one shot, but he hasn't managed to do that. Now, obviously from there, what I've went for as a backup is the shield splinterer. So if someone does push me and gets up in my face, then the way that I'm looking at it is just having something that I can hit them really hard with really fast. And obviously the damage is going to be increasing from the talent of Perfect Optimist. Now your weapon damage does increase for every by 4% for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine. I think Optimus is really good on fast firing weapons. I have seen a lot of people try to run strained and stuff like that with fast firing weapons, and that would really be a kind of contradiction on the talent as it is kind of worded within the game. It is kind of more catered for slow firing weapons in the game, as I've found. With that, I've kind of married this up with the D50. It's very few and far between that I've seen me running out of ammunition with any of my weapons within PvP. Um, Generally, you are going to get flanked, you are going to get pushed, and depending on the team that you're going against and stuff like that, some people like to camp as well within the spawn point, which enables you to obviously kind of get out and push them, but it becomes more difficult, I believe, to kind of defend at your spawn point as well. And obviously from that, if you're just being killed and then respawning at your spawn point and the other team's just sat there, it's very difficult to kind of push out because you've not got a lot of cover depending on some of the spawn points that you have on the maps that you may be playing on within conflict. So what I've opted for is to have a wee bit of sneakiness within the build. So I have opted for 3-piece Yao. Now, ideally, I would like to have these two blue core attributes as a red. I just haven't managed to come across another two Yao pieces that have got crit hit chance, crit hit damage. This one here I managed to craft, and I have ran out of the synthetic Senna, I believe it's called, for Yao in order to craft any more pieces. At the moment, they are selling a Yao piece within DZ South this week for 101 DZ credits. I have managed to get a few of them, but it just gets a bit boring kind of farming DZ credits in order to buy one piece when you actually need to break down 5 of them to craft one piece of gear, which is just random. So I think I'm going to need to wait until the Yao pieces maybe come round onto a vendor at a vendor reset that I can just buy them with normal credits instead of DZ ones. And maybe from there I should be able to craft a couple of pieces that's going to kind of fit well with this build a wee bit more. On the other hand, the 2 blue cores does give me a tiny bit more survivability, but it does take away from my damage from all my weapons here, as you can see. So the one that I've crafted here, it came with headshot and crit chance. There was not really much more I could get from it, but I managed to roll it to a red, which is decent. So I have put the 10% pulse resistance mod on there, and with the 3 brand set bonus, it's given me 10% hazard protection, 5% weapon damage, and 40% pulse resistance. With the 10% on the build there, that gives me 50%, and from every specialisation in the game, it gives you a further 50% pulse resistance. That makes me 100% pulse resistant. So it's very good for being out of sight, not being pulsed, and just being able to kind of take your time and kind of hang back and give support to your team that are maybe pushing forward within conflict gameplay. Now, what I have opted for here is more of a crit chance, crit damage build. Just aim to get as much damage as possible hitting that player with one shot. Now, I've went for the gift here. You can use normal vigilance. The only difference is it's an extra second to get it back if you do take damage, which disables the buff. There's no difference in the damage. It's still 25% damage on normal vigilance compared to perfect, so it doesn't really matter. It's literally 1 second of a difference for the normal vigilance compared to the 3 seconds on the gift. The gift is a named backpack. It's normally a Dark Zone exclusive. I have seen it pop up in Dark Zone vendors. I have seen it obviously being dropped from conflict caches and stuff like that as well. So you can ascertain it that way, or you can just farm it in DZ when Providence is the targeted look for that week, or that day, sorry. And from there, I've just got this maxed out: crit hit chance, crit hit damage mod with max weapon damage, and I've got expertise 15 on there as well. So married that up with the named chess piece, the sacrifice. This can be picked up through countdown and stuff like that as well. I've opted to have critical hit chance, headshot damage, critical hit damage mod on there, and moving forward, the second piece of Yao gear, we've got this as max armor, max crit damage, max crit chance. Same with the knee pads, max crit damage, max crit chance, max armor, and then a Grippo holster, which is max crit damage, max crit chance, and max weapon damage. Now with the Grippo holster, it has given me the extra brand set bonus of 50% crit hit damage, and with the 2-piece Providence, we have got the 15% headshot and 10% critical hit chance. So stats that that's kind of given me here is 59.6 critical hit chance, 137 crit hit damage, and 181 headshot damage. Now moving on to the Shield Splinterer, it's given me 59.6 crit chance, 137 crit damage, 110 headshot damage, and for the D50, 54.6 crit chance, 132 crit hit damage, 155 headshot damage, and it hits pretty hard. So what I've opted for the skills here is to always be able to see where my enemies are. There's no point, in my opinion, being pulse resistant when you don't know where the other enemy is. So in conflict, cooldown, as you can see, is 109 seconds. Now you're probably wondering what's the point even having it equipped if it takes like well over a minute for it to come back. Is because the reason why I've got it equipped is a backup. So if I use my tactician drone here from Sharpshooter, this lasts for 414 seconds and it's got a 66 meter range. and I've got the sharpshooter 15% duration and the 20% scan range on there as well. So it is pretty decent. Now, I don't know why there isn't a mod for the bottom of the drone here within the game, but there's not really anything you can put on there to do anything for it. But if someone shoots this tactician drone out the sky, which generally happens, it just means that I've got the scanner pulse as a backup. Now, this has only got an 18-second cooldown, 18.2 as you can see. So within that time frame, this lasts for 11.7 seconds. So literally, I've got 7 seconds that I'm not going to be able to see someone throughout the full game by alternating between these two if need be. Now, obviously, if this is on cooldown, this gets shot out the sky again. It's just about your placement and where you're putting the tactician drone and stuff like that, because not a lot of people notice. They're too busy concentrating on what's happening in front of them. If agents are flanking left or right, or if they're being pushed, if they're moving as a team of 4 or whatever like that. I've tend to find that a lot of agents just don't really bother and looking up. So obviously from that, in my personal opinion, it's just really good to have the backup there. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to go to the shooting range here and I'm just going to show you some damage numbers. Now, the shooting range is kind of subjective. I wouldn't say that it is 100% accurate on what you're going to get. There is a lot of YouTubers out there that have done the math and they've really kind of gone into detail on the formulas and stuff and how to obviously calculate damage, whether it be amplified damage or additive damage within the game. You can look those guys up. There's no point in me going over stuff like that when it's already been done. I'm just going to show you stuff that I like to use. So, as we'll see here, we've got this on Heroic at the shooting range. And I can just put it on an elite enemy. So for a headshot, 5.5. It's a non-crit. 8.2. 5.5. 8.2. That's only a 5 meter range. Now obviously the damage is going to increase depending on how far the enemy is away from me. So 5 meter range, 4.6 to the body, which I can't complain. You're hitting that hard for one shot. Obviously we want to take it to 20 meters. 5 million to the body. That's going to one-shot someone in PvP, regardless how tanky they are. 8.9 to the head. You know, that's one-shotting someone in PvP. As long as you're hitting over 2 million damage, really, in PvP, even if they want to do like a full armour and health build and stuff like that, you're going to one-shot them. Now, obviously, you're taking amplified damage from having perfect glass cannon. You're taking 60% amplified damage. That's a lot. You're supremely squishy, but you do have a lot of extra damage to output on the build and stuff like that as well. Obviously from there, if you look at the shields for it there, 486k, can't really complain at that. I mean obviously that's not the bottom of the magazine. If you wanted to kind of look at the bottom of the magazine, the damage has gone up. So kind of last 6 bullets in the mag, 4 bullets. So about 515 really, by the time you get to your last bullet, which is not shabby at all, and that's just to the body. You know, headshots are going to be more. Just do that. Right, there's the last bullet. 914 to the head. So you can't really complain at that at all. Obviously you get 350 there, it's going to do a wee bit more. The D50's got Optimist on it as well, so the damage will increase by the time it gets to the last bullet in the mag. So that's 3.4 million to the head, last bullet, 3.546102. Can't complain at that for the pistol. That's just body shots. Let's see what it gets to, depending if it gives me a crit or not. 2 million crit there. 916 non-crit. 2.1 million on a body crit. Can't really complain at that. So you're really hitting hard with whatever weapon that you're actually hitting with. I would say the ones that are probably going to one-shot players if it does crit would be your pistol and the marksman rifle here. I wouldn't say that you're going to one-shot player with one bullet on the shield splinter. It's just not hitting hard enough in that regard. But yeah, that's the build there. Look at the stats here. I'm looking at 59.6 crit chance, 137, 181 on the marksman rifle, 30% reload speed bonus, 25% stability, 10% accuracy. On the shield splinter, 59.6, 137, 110, and then 25% stability, 10% accuracy again. I think you're getting these from your watch, and you're getting it from breath control and your watch as well for your stability. And then moving on to the pistol, we've got the 54.6 crit chance, 132 crit damage, 155% headshot, 15% reload speed bonus, 15% accuracy, which is a reflex sight on the weapon and Keener's watch, and then 30% stability with the pistol as well, which is breath control and reflex sight on the pistol as well. So yeah, you can tell me what you think in the comments. Obviously from there we do have, just to show you, 100% pulse resistance, and that's just from specialisation, 3 PCL and the mod on there as well. We do have 20% Hasbro protection, that's just because of the 10% from the watch and 10% from YAL as well. So obviously from that we do have a wee bit going on there. YAL pieces can be quite hard to ascertain and stuff like that, but as I said, just need to wait for the vendors to pop up, buy as many as possible, crush them and craft what you actually need. It's probably the best bet to do it. You can go in and farm it in DZ and stuff like that as well, but it doesn't really drop that much as far as I've seen. It's the same with system corruption as well. It doesn't really drop that much either. Any system corruption that I've got or YAL pieces has generally been from caches, or I've been very lucky to get it out of Dark Zone a long time ago and I've just not really been using it until now. But yeah, tell me what you think in the comments. Anything you think you would improve on. This is just really trying to one-shot players in conflict. But yeah, you can let me know. Peace.